We're living through a particularly unique time in human history right now, a time when it's more tempting than ever to tune out from reality itself and to choose to disappear from this world into a fantasy world, away from the polarization, the stress, the uncertainty, the confrontation, the bad attitudes that will come across as people slowly get more and more agitated and drift into psychosis due to these unprecedented circumstances. My advice for you, and something that I'm trying to live myself as congruently as possible, is to avoid the temptation to check out, avoid the temptation to turn away from reality, to stay in this world. The only thing you need to be tuning out from is the online world and mainstream media. That you should be disassociating from. But this world, nature, life, other people, the real world, and your own body is something that you still have some sovereignty over, such as there is left of that, and some agency over, such as there is left of that also. You can take care of your health, you can look after other people, you can make sure that you maintain your connections to other human beings, you can get outside and you can appreciate nature. These are the things that I like to do myself to make sure that I'm not disassociating. I like to get to the gym, move some weights around, stretch a little bit, go on the bags, do a little bit of kickboxing, meditate, walk, explore, and get outside. These are the things that stop me from isolating and then disassociating. I think it's inevitable in a period of time where we're pushed into a heightened fawn response that we're all going to see a growing tendency towards codependency, a growing tendency amongst all people to be hyper agreeable and codependent on others and on institutions and on governments. It will be hard to fight this tendency. It has a tidal nature to it. There's a deep undertow movement in that direction. Disassociation is the fuel that keeps codependency going. Disassociation is the grease that allows the systems of codependency to keep functioning. Disassociation is what we do when we are in denial. If you are in denial, then what you are doing is you are disassociating from reality just as it presents itself moment to moment. The body is always in the moment. The body can't escape. The body is always here. The body is the body. And it's a reflection of the unconscious. One of the easiest and fastest ways of getting out of disassociation and back into associating with reality is just through accessing your body, just doing something physically. Getting outside, giving yourself some sensory experience, maybe doing something that takes a bit of skill, or doing something that's creative if that's your way. Or if you love nature and you like being outside for that reason, then that is something that you can do too. The opposite of disassociation would be association. So if we're disassociating, we're moving out, we're checking out of reality, we're disappearing into a fantasy, and we're withdrawing from reality as it presents itself. The polar opposite of that would be to associate, reassociate. What would that mean? Well, then you would see everything that you could see. You would hear everything that you could hear. You would feel everything that you would feel through the body, through the senses, because the body is always in the moment. Then you're achieving that Zen Buddhist-like state, or at least you're moving towards it, where you want the pool of your consciousness to be still so that it can accurately reflect in the water of the pool that which is around it. If it's rippling with emotional dysregulation and emotional turbulence, everything you see in the pool is distorted. We want that pool to be nice and still. Movement, stretching, some gentle meditation is a really good way to get back to that place. We want the map we hold of the world inside of our heads to match the territory that is outside of our heads. If the pictures on the inside of our head are matching the pictures on the outside of our head, reality itself, we can say that this is sanity. If what we have inside of our head is not reality because we're escaping into fantasy all the time, I would say that this would be a low-level form of insanity. Because what you have going on inside of your head, the version of reality that you're living with, is becoming slowly more and more distant from reality itself. We are breaking away. We are already unmoored from reality and already unmoored from each other. Nobody should underestimate the power of the stress and the toll it has taken on the collective human psyche to live under these conditions for the last 18 months. If we are not careful, we will see more and more examples of mass psychosis spontaneously erupting from out of the collective unconscious, or the collective shadow, to use a Jungian concept, the collective shadow. And what comes out of the shadow will be that which was denied, that which was disassociated from. We don't like that part of ourselves, so we push it away. It becomes suppressed or repressed or even split off, and then is projected through projective identification onto others. These are all psychological defense mechanisms. But these psychological defense mechanisms are developed in response to stress, are developed in response to threat. What are we threatened by? If we don't know what we're threatened by, or we simply cannot permit ourselves to believe that what is truly threatening us is truly threatening us, because it would cause our entire world to fall apart, we will do the most amazing psychological acrobatics and backflips just to avoid that painful reality. Even if in our heart of hearts we know that what is happening is happening. Now is the time to associate, not disassociate. Now is the time to come back into reality. When people, like myself, are serial dissociators, that means they are good at something. That means we are good at something. We developed a skill under highly stressful situations, very painful situations that we had no control of, probably in childhood, that we couldn't escape, we couldn't fight, we couldn't negotiate, we couldn't fawn, and we couldn't flight, we couldn't run away from them, so we were stuck there and we froze. So where do you run to if your body is frozen in place? Your mind can still run. Your mind can still run. Now we have a belief, those of us who are serial dissociators and codependents, that the safest thing for us to do when stress appears, or overwhelm appears, or threat appears, is to disassociate from all the painful perceptions, from all the painful emotions that go with it, and to disconnect from reality and to simply check out into a fantasy world. I can see this happening more and more individually at the microcosmic level, and I can point to examples where we're seeing this at the macrocosmic level, even in mainstream media. And I'm not talking about propaganda now. I'm talking about, which we've had plenty of, I'm talking about the way in which the people who are creating the content in mainstream media have become truly unmoored. Some of it is propaganda. Some of it, I would claim, is an example of people actually slipping now into psychosis, which is the inevitable end result of living under these kinds of conditions for an extended period of time with no idea when it will end. We will all be changed by this experience. It is painful, it is difficult, and it will be painful and it will be difficult. But we must teach ourselves that it is far safer to remain present, to be here in the moment, in our bodies, switched on, remaining sane, remaining calm, remaining as kind as we can be, holding to our values, holding to our objectives, and coming up with solutions to the problems as they present themselves. My last point on this. I believe that in order for a person to be a serial dissociator, good at dissociating, having developed the skill and the strength of being really good at checking out and disappearing into a fantasy world, it is not only required that they are hyper-agreeable fawn responders with a tendency towards codependency, but they need to hold a certain core belief, which is, I can't cope. I can't cope. The opposite belief to that, the polar opposite to that belief, would be something along the lines of, whatever happens, whatever comes up, I will deal with it. It's one of the lines from the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, which I recommend. Whatever happens, I will deal with it. One of these beliefs is coming from a traumatized child. I can't cope. It's too much. I can't deal with this. Okay, what should we do? Let's just check out. Reality is too difficult. Let's blue pill. Let's hook into the matrix. Ah, good, serotonin, that's better. I can be who I want to be here. I can be Cypher. I can be a rock star. I can eat steak and have a great time. Okay? But are you Cypher? Are you a rock star? Are you eating steak and having a great time? No. You've blue pilled. You've checked out. The harder thing, the more courageous thing, is to red pill. See the world as it is and stay here. Deal with what happens as it happens. That is you coming from your adult state. Whatever happens, I'll deal with it. I've just updated the course on dissociation. It's available from SpartanLifeCoach.com now. It can show you the philosophical template that I worked from in order to develop the course, the psychological theory, but not too much. I've kept it simple. And then some simple solutions that if you apply, typically I would say like over a 30 to 50 day period of time, there are audio hypnosis tracks you can listen to within that course. You can start to recondition yourself out of dissociation. I'll tell you how now. You have to do nothing less than train yourself at the unconscious level to come to the belief, I am safer being present and in this reality than being checked out of it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you all again very soon. Thank you.